Hey everybody, Travis Clater back with another strategic thought for the day. And since it's such a gorgeous day out here at Firefly Farm North, I'm bringing you today's strategic thought from the backyard again. Now, you may hear some loud noises or machinery from next door, some major yard work going on, so apologies for the noise, but it's too gorgeous not to do the strategic thought from outside. So here we go. We're continuing our discussion on the RADD approach to setting yourself up for success following the coronavirus crisis. And as a quick reminder, RADD, RADD, stands for Recognize, Adapt, Develop, and Deploy. So check out our previous blogs for the inside scoop. And today it's all about how we adapt for success in the future as well as in the short term. And this crisis has forced us all to think about and forced us all to adapt in the short run, as well as think about how we adapt for the changes that we know are happening and how business is evolving in the long run. So, first, adapting in the short run. Even as you're developing your long term plans, you have to make short term adjustments or adaptations in many cases for the survival of your business, especially during this crisis. And in the midst of any crisis, you need to be making these short term adjustments that are going to give you the runway and the time and the resources to develop longer term communications plans. It's true, this isn't a long term fix. It's just meant to give you time to plan. And here are some items for consideration. And these are true for really any crisis that you go through. And first is understanding what's happening with your external audiences and how are they being impacted right now. By understanding what's happening with your external audiences and what they're going through, you can hone in on one of the crucial elements of crisis communications planning, which is empathy and being empathetic. If you can put yourself in their position, you can understand what they're going through and as well as understand what expectations they have of your brand as you're going through this crisis. And setting expectations that you can deliver on is crucial in weathering any sort of crisis. You should also look at what's happening internally with your communications. And I mean everybody from your employees to your investors, your board members, part time, full time, all of your internal stakeholders. You need to know what's happening with them as well. And what are they expecting from you? And how can you empathize with them and deliver on expectations to help ensure that your business continues to run? Again, setting yourself up for success in the long run. What are these adaptations or these changes that you need to make? Now, the answers for each of these differ from crisis to crisis, but the point is you need to adapt in the short run to minimize that damage. Ignoring short-term problems for in search of a greater plan, never a good plan. That's just going to give you bigger short-term problems to deal with. Now, adapting for the long term. We've heard many experts claim, including us, that the coronavirus is forever changing how we conduct business, especially in the communications industry. And that means we need to start adapting now to how things will be in the future so that we're prepared for that growth or those opportunities for growth. But here's the question. How do you make changes now when things are still changing? Here's the answer. Think big. Don't get lost in the specifics. Don't worry about the specifics of how things are changing. Yes, they are changing and they're changing rapidly, but things have been changing rapidly for quite some time. What we're really seeing in a lot of cases is just the acceleration of the way that things are changing. So don't get overwhelmed or too involved in the minutia of what's happening. It isn't about what piece of technology you're going to use or what tool you're going to use. This is about the way that you're going to communicate with your audiences. How are you going to make them feel? What connections are you going to make? And then more importantly, what expectations, again, do they have of your brand in the future? Everything's changing in how they consume information. So their expectations of your brand are going to change, and you have to be able to look into the future a little bit to make those changes. And for your teams, for internally, whether you have a full internal team or you're using external experts, you have a mixture of both, it comes down to setting up a culture of being able to adapt and evolve better than your competition, especially on the communications front. Essentially, all teams have the same tools, but those who can adapt more efficiently to the changing scenarios and the expectations of their consumers or their clients or their audiences, those are the teams that win. And as we've said, this crisis will end at some point, and you need to be ready for the growth that's waiting on the other side of this crisis. And these steps are the first things you need to do to prepare for that success. Now, we'll see you back more for more information on the RAD approach to setting yourself up for success following coronavirus. But be sure to check out our other posts at tcstrategic.com, and we'll see you soon.